every single tournament he plays in. His mechanics and fighting skills are absolutely insane, and the crazy thing is, he is only 14 years old. So I copied Shxrk's entire Fortnite settings onto my game, and will be running through them for you guys step by step. These settings are absolutely insane, and be sure to stick around to watch the whole video, because for each setting, I explain the positives and negatives that come with it, so you can make an informed decision whether you want to have each setting on or off. But without further ado, let's get right on into these insane Fortnite settings. Okay, so I'm now ready to showcase Shxrk's 2026 Fortnite settings right here, and just before I get into them guys, as you guys can see, I've changed my official Epic Games username to Shxrk settings on this account to show you guys that I've copied his settings one for one. So starting off with the display tab right here, windowed mode, he has it on full screen. Of course, this will give you the most FPS, you guys should know this. Display is just set to his main monitor, and then resolution is set to 1920 by 1080 with a 16:9 ratio, or in other words, his monitor's native resolution. VSync is of course off. Of course, having VSync on will give you a massive performance decrease. And then for his frame rate limit, Shxrk plays on a 240Hz monitor, so he plays with 240 FPS frame rate limit, which is nice and simple. And now for the rendering mode right here, Shxrk is actually using the new updated performance mode, not the legacy performance mode, and of course DX11 or DX12. Fortnite actually making changes to this performance mode every single update and trying to optimize it, so I definitely recommend it for getting the most FPS out of your game. For the graphics settings right here, Shxrk uses 150% brightness, user interface contrast of 1, and then his colorblind mode is really strong on 𝗦𝗘𝗕𝗦𝗘, which gives it a nice vibrancy. As you can see, if it's off, it's less vibrant. 𝗦𝗘𝗕𝗦𝗘 is amazing, and then user interface parallax is on. Now for Shxrk's graphics settings right here, minimum 3D resolution is of course on 100%, allowing him to see his native resolution. Dynamic 3D resolution is off, and then his view distance is actually on epic. Like I said in previous videos, having it on far or epic doesn't actually affect your performance too much, so you can actually have it on epic just like Shxrk to see stuff from further away, for example players and items. However, textures and meshes do want to be both on low just like Shxrk. This is what will give you the nice low latency mobile build effects, and will give you increased performance and lower latency just overall throughout your gameplay. And now for the advanced graphics settings, show FPS is on, so Shxrk wants to see his FPS, which is nice and simple, so he has it on. Latency markers is off. And now for video reflex low latency, Shxrk actually used to play with this setting off because his CPU was bottlenecking. However, he now upgraded his setup and now plays with it on, which is nice and simple. And then report performance, that should be disabled. Now let's go on to the audio tab right here. I've copied all of his audio settings one for one, so you guys can copy them right here. These ones don't matter too much. If you guys want to copy them, they're right here. However, let's go on to the sound quality setting right here, which is very important. You want to have this low for better performance, and also it is cleaner for your guns. 3D headphones should of course be off. Hit markers on default. Background audio notifications only. Shxrk has visualized sound effects on because he can see players from up to 200 meters away with gunshots, which is nice and simple. Now the audio output device is just set to his headset. Licensed audio should be on play. Jam track synchronize is on, and then start jam loops is off. Now going on to the communication tab right here, it's nice and simple. Voice chat and text chat are both off because obviously Shxrk is a professional esports player. He talks on Discord just like the GOAT he is. He does not use the in-game chat. And now going on to the game tab right here, starting off with language or region, Shxrk of course plays on Europe, which is nice and simple, and then his game language is on English. Now for the movement settings, toggle sprint is on. Shxrk has auto open doors off, and then mantle activation and hurdle activation are on hold jump and press jump, which is nice and simple. And now for the combat settings, hold to swap pickup, Shxrk actually has this off, unlike a lot of pro players. Maybe this is why he can actually pick weapons up faster, because there isn't a delay, because the game thinks you're trying to swap. ADS should be on while held. Mark danger while ADS, Shxrk has this on. Auto pick up weapons, Shxrk plays with this one on, in fact, because he can pick up weapons out of the chest really fast. Swap fire buttons for pumping up is on. And then for Shxrk's preferred item slots right here, this is how he has it set up right here. So he has 2 slots for his consumables, then his SMG in the first slot, shotgun in the second, and then a sniper or bow in the last. Of course, if he has an AR, then his AR will of course be in the first slot, but however the SMG does take preference in the Fortnite settings. And now if we go back to our settings right here, auto sort consumables to the right is of course on. And then of course Shxrk does not play with simple build. He has some of the fastest building settings, which I'll get onto later in the video. However, of course simple build and simple edit right here are both off. Reset building choice is off, and then turbo building is of course on. And then disable pre-edit option is on. Shxrk usually lets his teammates do the pre-edits while he's just clipping them, because he's absolutely insane. So have this setting on if you want to play like Shxrk. And then auto confirm edits is on edit. Shxrk plays with confirm edit on release on, just like me, just like all the other pros, just like 𝗦𝗘𝗕𝗦𝗘 in fact. So if you guys want to play like Shxrk, play with the setting on. It is just the fastest for editing. Contextual tips are off. And then turbo delete in creative mode is on, NVIDIA highlights off, peripheral lighting off, tap to search interact is of course on. This is what allows Shxrk to open chests with just one press of a button, so make sure the setting on. And then for Shxrk's minimum FOV, he has it on 70 degrees, and then maximum FOV on 100 degrees, which is nice and simple. For the replay settings, of course, Shxrk has all of the high quality and large game replays and creative ones off, apart from the actual record replays. This is because he plays a lot of scrims off stream, and he wants to VOD review them, so I definitely recommend, if you're